So in this video, I'm going to show you how to make basically a billboard cactus. I'm going to go to Create, Polygon Primitives, Plane. And here's my teeny tiny image, or my plane. I need to show need to make mine a little bit smaller because it's going to cut off the view of the channel box when I need it. Okay. So I'm going to scale this up. And I like to give it more detail, so I'm going to change my polyplanes, the subdivision width and height, to like 40. It doesn't have to be this high, but I just like it higher. And then I'm going to, first of all, I need to give it a name. So I'm going to call this cactus underscore geo. I'm going to freeze, well, I won't freeze transformations yet because I'm going to rotate it and stand it up. But while it's lying down, I'm going to right click and say assign new material. I'm going to pick Lambert. It's Lambert 2. So I'm going to call this cactus underscore shader. So this is all stuff we've done before. And then I hit color, and I'm going to assign it from my thesis project because that's from my source images that have cactus textures, cactus 1, cactus 2. I'll just do cactus 1 since it's right there. And I'm going to hit 6. So you can see my cactus. And I'm going to go to the top view. And what I mean, this isn't necessary, but I like to do it just to keep, I like to think of as clean of a file as I can. I'm just going to delete the faces that I don't need. So I switch to face mode, and I'm just deleting faces that are outside of the cactus. And this actually helps because you can, I don't know if you were able to see, but from my thesis project, I had a lot of stuff. And with all these extra faces, it just makes it harder for me to select what I want to when I want to select stuff because all these other faces show up. So I'm just deleting stuff that's not necessary, that's not in my cactus, or my cactus doesn't show up. So like these guys. And you can get even more specific and actually, use a multi-cut to start to cut the shape of the cactus a little bit more accurately. But this is all we need because this is going to be, what's it called? Transparent. So you won't see these faces anyways. I just don't want them in my way when I need to select stuff. Probably to there, and then grab these guys. Oh, this guy too. And you can delete stuff in here too. I don't want to delete that guy because there's some cactus on that one. Those guys I'll keep. Maybe if I zoom in, maybe these guys can go. Anyways, roughly there's my cactus. I'll delete these last two. And then I'll go to object mode, and actually before I stand it up, I'm going to switch the hold down D and V and drag so that it snaps to the bottom. Actually, I don't want it to the very bottom. I want to snap it so it's, because you can see there's a little bit of extra space down here. So I'm just gonna, that's not absolutely necessary. I could clean that up if I use multi-cut. So I'm gonna go back to the perspective view now that I've changed its center pivot to the bottom. I'm gonna hit E and stand it up. And then I'm gonna hit W and hold X and snap it to the point of origin. And I'm gonna freeze transformations, delete history, add it to a layer. And there's my cactus. So with having done all that, you could add maybe another image plane. And I'll just do this really rough because, you know, do all the same process that I just did with the cactus. But this is for the wanted poster. And you can shape it a little bit more. It doesn't have to be a perfect square because, I mean, the texture is flat anyways, but just to give it the feeling of 3D or whatever. But I don't know, maybe you shape it more like a piece of paper where you delete some of these faces so it's not a perfect square. But I would do this again after you've created your wanted poster. And then I would center the center pivot and move it into place. And you can have a picture of the guy with a $500 reward or something stuck to a cactus. Maybe that piece of paper even starts to, maybe you would change the center pivot to the corner instead. Oops, D and X, D and B. E. Oops, I'm off the grid. So if you wanted to, I mean, maybe it starts to flutter because the wind is blowing. You can have some wind sound, and then eventually it gets blown off or something. Just to, you know, you wouldn't have to do that. Of course, it would be better to, instead of animating this piece of paper, you actually want to be animating create a very simple polygon. What's it called? A NURBS circle, like we did before for the control handles. And you would just position that and maybe put it at the tip of that piece of paper. Oops, I'm just going to hold down V and snap it there. And then freeze its transformation. And then parent the piece of paper to the control handle. Oops, what happened? Oh, I got this one off. So yeah, parent the piece of paper to the control handle. And so then you would animate the control handle, not the piece of paper. And actually, you would probably, again, to be complete with this, you would then hit Control G to group it, and you would set a con null like we did with the pawns so that you can keep this NURB circle, these values zeroed out, where the translation that I added to bring it up here, you could leave that on the group node if you needed to. You have any questions about that?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And if you're gonna, if you wanted this cactus to sway in the wind at all, I mean, of course you'd create another control handle at the bottom for that as well. But yeah, and it doesn't have to be a cactus. I mean, I really like this because it already has shadows on it, and it has a feel for a real object. I mean, it is a picture of a real object. So when I populate my world with this stuff, it already starts to feel like an environment. All right, I'm going to pause.